Okay.
In a normal America, the president's poll numbers would go up after this. As Sean has pointed out, the press coverage has been relentlessly negative for the most part, not entirely. Sean, will the president's poll numbers go up?
I think there'll be a slight tick. There'll be a level of intensity among the Republican base. So he will be strengthened among the base, a small tick up in independents, and Democrats will
Dan?
walk.
So I actually think it's a little bit the opposite. I think they'll go up because independents, that like George W. Bush Republican that's a little more foreign policy muscular, will be happy. The base that's a little more nervous, they'll stick with them, but their intensity will be a little anxious.
Can we
and
just
Democrats
say,
will be against them, unfortunately.
on the politics of this, Dan, honest to God, I was taken back by the Democrat response among the leadership. Hakeem Jeffries, to me, his response was so over the top, un-American. I was embarrassed for him. And I get the I don't support President Trump, but like that's how I think a lot of Democrats, I expected to thread the needle on this. But Hakeem Jeffries' response to me was like blood boiling.
All right, let's build the correct Democratic response. If the Democratic Party wants to both stay true to its values and not commit another act of political suicide, Dan, what's the correct statement?
So I was thinking about this. It is circa 2007, late six, Nancy Pelosi, when we took the majority, which was there was a huge segment of the Democratic caucus going into that 2006 midterm, coming out of it, sorry, that wanted to cut funds for the war in Iraq. And Nancy Pelosi called a caucus meeting after we won the House and said, cut it out. That is not happening. It is not serious. We are now in charge. The nation is looking at us. We will have appropriate oversight, but we support the troops in the field. And she shut everything down because nobody wanted to cross mom. In this instance, we all knew that this might be coming. We didn't know where, we didn't know when, but we knew it was a distinct possibility. The fact that the first two voices really out there were Bernie Sanders. Now, he was live on stage, so you can't help it. And then saying this was like totally unconstitutional, outrageous. And the second voice to come with a written statement was AOC saying impeachment. To your point, Sean, Hakeem then came later in the evening. We were live. We kept hitting refresh to see when he would say something. And talk about profile and courage. Chuck Schumer tried to drop a tree that nobody heard fall. So I think the answer is, again, I wish we would have said, God bless the troops, right? We got in, we got out. They are safe. They are courageous. We are the best military in the world, and we are so grateful for them.
Two, Iran cannot be allowed to have nuclear weapons. We all agree.
Number two, a longtime principle of our party, and we've worked to facilitate this with sabotage and stuff, is that Iran can't have the nuclear weapon. And then number three, we have a lot of questions about what comes next. We expect full intelligence briefings. If you want to take a hit at them, you could have said, we are very disappointed that Jim Himes and Mark Warner, the two Democrats in the Gang of Eight, were not given a heads up. All right, if you want to take a shot, there's your partisan shot.
Okay, but I say don't get into process at that level of
detail. I agree.
But just say, in the best spirit of American tradition, the president is not a dictator. He doesn't get to decide when we go to war. The Constitution's clear. We'd urge the president to do this in a bipartisan way, respecting the prerogatives of Congress going forward. It's not that hard.
I agree with you.
But also,
and by the way, you hold a caucus meeting and you say, guys, this may happen. I don't want anyone putting out anything about impeachment. I will put the statement out and you follow. Now, if somebody goes rogue, there are ways to punish them. But the fact that they seem so flat-footed and all the progressive voices went flying out into the ecosystem is just, you want to bang your head against the wall. And it's like immigration. Let's get rid of ICE. Let's pull their funding. And the leadership sits there silent. And Fox and everyone's going to run this on, campaign ads. And if you're a candidate now running for Congress or Senate, do you know the two questions you're going to be asked? If we give you power back, are you going to impeach the president and cut ICE?
Sean.
It's insanity.
So I agree with almost everything that Dan said, number one. Number two, the president dropping a bomb to prevent Iran, like the idea that these guys had to vote on a war powers resolution is insane. I'm like, have you not been alive the last 50 years to suddenly think that now you're going to care about and that is not a declaration of war. I just, to me, military intervention and action on its face is not an act of war. You're not sending any troops, not a single person. Like they literally got on a plane, dropped it, and we're back in Missouri within 30 hours. So I just, to me, this posturing was so ridiculous. And I will say this: they bet against the United States. They bet against our military, and they deserve every political defeat that comes to them over the next couple decades. I mean, it was embarrassing.
I don't think they bet. I don't think they bet against them. I just think they don't know how to talk about it.
But the idea of saying like you didn't have the right to do this and this, I mean, what was?
But that's not about the military. That's about Trump. I mean, that's about Trump.
They didn't bet against. I mean, look, I think too. The other thing is who is saying this. Again, 2006. Who did Nancy Pelosi put out there a lot? Jack Murtha, big burly guy from Western Pennsylvania, Vietnam vet. Like he was central casting. Mark Warner, Jim Himes are thoughtful. When the signal chat stuff happened, they were perfect to put in front of the camera. They're measured. They know what they're talking about. To have AOC and Bernie Sanders as our spokespeople,
yeah,
not good.
By the way, if this turns, I mean, look, and
if it turns out well,
we got to hope that it does. I hope every Republican hangs this around their political neck and makes them own this up and down, because what they need to, every one of your rank and file members needs to answer for this.
They say that something that's easy is like a walk in the park. Well, easier than a walk in the park, hit the subscribe button, be part of the two-way community, never miss an episode, be part of our conversations. Thank you for your service to America.